You'll definitely come across a lot of creep.
Where have all these cancelable opinions?
You guys keep your brains at 60 feet.
That was a picture of my boobs.
That's it, that's the title of the podcast.
They're rock hard.
That's great advice.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is the ZLB podcast live on stage. It is episode 81, for those who are keeping track. Shelby got it completely wrong. We are recording this live at TGX on the stage, on the creative stage in the back corner, and no one really knows what's going on, I guess. So, joining us today, Shelby is here and learning. We only have two mics, so things are going to be a little
Hello,
slow.
we're going to do the pass the mic around slowly responding to things thing.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. Kamikaze has joined us for the first time on the podcast, maybe the last. He's learning how to use the microphone. Good work, well done. And
we got there eventually.
Koshi is back with us.
Yeah.
Just,
We're going to juggle these mics around a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
our
figure it out.
second time up on stage for the weekend,
Yes.
which is quite nice.
Yes.
Yesterday with Team OCE, doing panels, telling people and adding people to have a stream schedule. I
Yes.
felt like people came up and said they were personally attacked by that, which I feel was a good thing.
everybody still has an issue with stream schedules.
Yes. It's really difficult when you have like lives and stuff.
Well, it's not even that. It's people just don't want to stick to a schedule. I don't know.
I know I'm bad at it. Horrible. I was one of those people who felt personally attacked.
What's your schedule, Kamikaze?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Well done. Yeah, that's exactly right. So.
The schedule thing has kind of worked for me to a point where now I just have anxiety if I miss a stream. So now it's just ingrained in me the opposite
You
direction.
say that, but Thursday, at the time that your stream started, I'm
I
like,
forgot
hey, are you streaming? And you said, huh?
I forgot. I forgot. I thought it was Friday. I was in Friday mode.
Your Friday mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your problem is that your starting time is not scheduled.
My starting time is always 6 o'clock. I don't know what you
On
mean.
a Saturday, it's 10 a.m.
Saturday doesn't
I can't
matter.
wait till 6. I'll just
Nobody
go now.
cares about the Saturday streams. For some reason, everyone comes in for Thursday. So
Yeah. So it's every time we do a not not-standard podcast recording, we face our challenges. This is by far not the worst. There was another event that was pretty bad not too long ago.
Yeah, do we want to have a story about that where the hardest thing we've got at the moment is what? We've got 2 mics, 4 people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We actually, I'll tell you, we can talk about that story in a second, but I'll tell you, there's 2 other secrets to the ZLB podcast. Firstly, everyone should do a pilot episode. So we have an episode 0, and it's awful. I'm pretty sure it's me and Shelby were sharing a microphone, and Shelby was playing with a Wi-Fi.
I'm a fidgeter. I always have fidget toys on my desk or something, but it just happened at that time. I was sitting on a couch
And
and,
you
had a
hear
bottle
it
of wine.
the
and that
whole
was,
time.
Yeah. I don't even recommend ever listening to the pilot episode of our podcast. I think you should just start at like episode 40 maybe, or even 60, maybe even like last week's,
Yeah.
and just keep going.
Yeah.
It's better if we just left the past be the past.
Do you know the other secret of the ZLB podcast?
No,
About episode 13?
it doesn't exist.
It's not there. We never did it. We never said anything. We just went straight to 14.
We're just
No
like,
one
maybe
noticed.
somebody will notice. Maybe somebody pays enough attention to see. We don't do episode 13, but
So if
Unlucky,
you start,
I guess.
we should look at our numbers. Everyone probably drops off at 12 because they're just waiting for 13 to come out. Here we are recording
that's
80.
probably not good marketing. If they're looking for episode 13, they're like, oh, they must not have recorded anymore. See ya.
We choose chaos when we can. It's pretty much what it comes down to.
You've just got a bunch of people that got to episode 12, and like the Titanic. It's been 84 years waiting for that episode to come out.
It's been 84 episodes and we finally let it out. No, we do what we want. It's our podcast. So
Yeah, exactly.
we thought it was funny.
You run the show. It's an Easter egg. Keep it there. It's happy days.
Yeah, and then obviously the more recent one was at the PAX event where we tried. That's probably the best way to put it.
For those who don't know the lore of the PAX event, when we were recording our podcast in the booth, first of all, when we got there initially, there was one mic in the middle of a table for 4 people just to meet in the middle on and just give each other a little smooch on. But that obviously didn't quite work. But they put us into a booth eventually that was actually a storage closet.
It's a storage closet.
And it was sharing a wall with a stage where they had a DJ, which
Yep.
doesn't really work when you're trying to make good audio quality.
No, and I think I became a master in learning about noise removal And even the computer's like, why are you even bothering?
I think my favorite part of that podcast episode was when we're trying to record it and somebody's like actively trying to break into the storage room whilst we're recording, and we just get the door rattled and like somebody's like banging on the door trying to get in, and then just awkwardly eventually he just stops and he realizes. And they apologized to me later on that they realized, but they did make a few attempts to break
I think
in.
the funny thing I found from that is other people that made their podcasts in that same closet, and like we see like some of them were video podcasts, so you just see them in a closet, and like, we're coming live from PAX. You could be in any closet, we don't know. It's just, what's the point at this point, you know?
As that guy was trying to break in, it went from podcast to horror movie real quick.
It was an experience, that's for sure.
We may do though. I think it went fairly well, but it was a bit of it was a little bit hectic, I guess, to get everything sorted. And then you had other troubles as well, and basically it became Stream MacGyver at one point, where you were just, I'm going to rock up to the stream studio thing, and nothing was set up.
Not even a computer. Which is like, it's a fundamental starter for streaming, is to have a computer. So,
I mean, you could do it, we can do live stream on the phone.
You know, the worst thing about that was
TikTok
it was for
Live.
charity.
Right,
We were meant to be streaming for charity. And
that one little tidbit.
We became the charity looking for a computer. So it wasn't
I think
fun.
it just goes back to like, you don't have to have all the fancy equipment like you guys talked about yesterday on your panel.
Yeah.
To get started with streaming, you just got to start. Even if you're in a closet that somebody's actively trying to break into, and you have one mic with a DJ, streamers make do.
Yeah, absolutely. We did actually, fun fact, we talked about in the podcast last week about like first conventions and stuff like that. And I mentioned that the first gaming convention I came to in Melbourne was a convention called Game One that was here, right here. And you had to buy a ticket to Auto Salon, which is the Fast and the Furious car show, if you like, which was also here. The gaming convention, air quotes, was the size of this stage. It was this corner, this exact corner, in fact. It's about 12 computers set up. They're playing Modern Warfare 4, or from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, in this corner, and then the rest was just cars. And you can see right at the very far, you got that roller door. That's where the dyno was. And people would drive their V8 utes in there, and they'd just smoke it up in the corner while we're playing Call of Duty over here. That was my first experience as a gaming convention.
Yeah, that's a real good conference. Look how far we've come. I think it's a real staple point of like just conventions in general.
Man, if people complain there's not enough here to do, we can always bring in some cars and go back to the roots. I honestly think that was like 15 years ago or something. So.
Is it bad that is a real petrol head? That sounds amazing to me. I love that idea.
The thing was, it was like the car show part of it was like Pimp My Ride meets Fast and the Furious. They like had Hummers with 36 TVs in it. I'm just like, wow.
I must admit, I'm hearing nothing wrong with this. I'm hearing absolutely nothing wrong with this.
I don't think they do it here anymore. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
I haven't got a time machine either.
Going to need a time machine and a sense of purpose to get back there in time. That's what I'm going to need.
Yeah, but I think the other thing that we had, the challenge that we faced, particularly with the last one we did at PAX, the recording, was because we got messed around so much, it became, Sunday morning? Which is never a good idea because...
I mean, we're at Sunday now.
It's the problem we've got is we like to go out and
consume of the alcoholic beverages in copious amounts.
Yes, which I have a bone to pick with you, actually.
Yes.
You guys were like, I'll get you drinks, because I was like, I don't want to spend too much money on fucking drinks because I don't get paid till next week. Yeah, and the drinks just somehow, they got more warm. And
I don't know about warm.
Warm going down.
Yeah, well, I was like, Shelby had one idea, which was we haven't seen you drunk before.
Because Shelby always gets drunk first.
Yeah, exactly. So Shelby took one for the team and said, oh no, I'm not having anything to drink today. We want to get you drunk.
Yes.
And then me, being the wonderful friend that I am, was like, I will be the investor for this project. So I helped with that.
You helped with that.
I think the problem is you're built like a brick shithouse, so you're really hard to get drunk. We're at the bar scheming what we need to give you next to try and help you along.
Yeah, it was a bit weird when it's like, oh yeah, I'll just have a Jack and Coke. It's like, okay, well here's 3 shots.
It was like a double, and then she just over poured the second shot and just kept pouring into your cup. Like we were trying really hard, but I think there's something we need to study you because something was wrong. You were not feeling it at all.
Let me clear it up for you. I was having too much fun just talking to people. was just too many interesting people.
We had that
around.
theory. We thought as soon as like the socialness dies down, you'll get a bit off.
You say that, but then, like, by the time I was starting to get a bit rowdy, a bit tipsy, I picked a fight with a Simpsons hit and run bloody speed runner.
You did. I mean, that's valid. It's a Simpsons hit and run speed runner.
Yeah.
Who's not going to pick a fight?
Who does that? Who doesn't like themselves that much that they play
No.
Simpsons hit and run all day, every day?
No, I just thought it was great though because I was calling him your nemesis because Simpsons
He
hit and
still
run.
is.
You had like a traumatic experience with it 4 weeks ago or so, where you just could not get through some levels.
I know where he is right now. I put a tracking device on him. It's just over there.
We'll go get him.
I will. It was an interesting. Everyone was going home. I'm like, well, I'm starting to get drunk, but best go home, I guess.
I don't.
But I was wondering if it's.
I don't understand you.
Well, if you had got me drunk, we might not have done this. There's a sabotage attempt.
That was the thing that I was kind of regretting this morning because I got messages from Shelby being like, yeah, well, now that he's not focused on talking to people and he's tired, he's getting a little bit drunk. And then it's just at 3 a.m., he's cooked. And then I woke up going, oh, we have this to do.
This
If
is
you
the
haven't been
problem.
drunk for a while, how will you pick up this morning? But, I mean,
Yeah.
apparently, it's fine.
So for future reference, we do podcasts on the Friday from now on, I think. Yeah.
I mean, you were drunk enough on the walk home because we got the tram and then we had to walk
was
home.
so just
you were
tired.
like brake checking me while we were walking for some reason.
No, I was brake checking you because I was trying to figure out where you were because you're behind me the whole time.
No, I was just walking like a normal person. Then
Anyway.
you were out of it.
I woke up this morning to my lovely cat sitting on my face because why not? And I'm like, oh, I feel fine. Not even hungover. Not in the slightest. And then I stood up and I'm like, oh, hang on, no, I'm still drunk. So,
Yeah,
so
I'll just hit you.
just a little tipsy. I wasn't drunk. I'll never get drunk. It's impossible. But yeah, definitely doing podcasts on a Sunday morning. We've got to get out of this habit. Sunday nights is good, like the regular podcast, because it's like weekend's over, we can wind down. It's great, but
What was like all of your first convention experiences? Not just like gaming, like if you've been to like a pop culture exhibition or something earlier. My first was Supernova. I think it was at the Showgrounds, and it was maybe 2013 or so. And I had the idea, and it was kind of pushed on to me by other people, that if you go to a convention, you have to cosplay. Otherwise, why are you going?
why are you
So
going?
I got like dragged into the cosplay world, and I was I was dressed in Homestuck cosplay. So if any of you know what that is, I'm sorry. But I was, one of those people that had to go to these events. But I also didn't know that there was this whole thing, like there was after parties and stuff to do afterwards. I would just like loop the convention hall, maybe join the cosplay stage, and then I would just go home. I didn't know there was extra stuff to do. And so we go to like PAX or we go to the Game Expo, or we go to like after parties and stuff like that. I'm like, man, me 10 years ago or whatever, I had no clue. All the activities I could be doing, I just went home. I don't know.
We talked about mine, obviously, but I do want to bring up RTX, which is in Sydney, which is the Rooster Teeth Expo. First year they did that. They did it in the worst venue. No air conditioning in a February, 47 degrees. It was a new smell. You could smell colours. It was wild.
New elements were created that day.
Yeah,
Not good ones either.
Their whole thing was like because their convention centre hadn't been built in Sydney yet, so they're like, oh, it's coming. We'll hopefully next year we'll be in the convention centre. Next year was the Rooster Teeth Expo, now with air conditioning, and it was great. But also because it was right in the city, I booked a hotel that was next door to the expo, and I remember I went to line up for a panel, and there's just people everywhere. I'm like, I'm just going to go back to my hotel and watch the live stream.
It's just way easier doing it that way. Yeah. For first ones, I think I used to attend them like pre-2010. I think it was the Supernovas and anime expos and stuff. And like getting into that, everyone has that nerdy sword phase where you just buy all the anime swords. And I had a Buster sword from, Final Fantasy and all this other.
That explains why Shelby has swords.
Yeah, I mean, everyone goes through the nerdy sword phase, and it's just, and I still have some of them. I think I've got the Queen Nero sword from Devil May Cry, but it's in a cupboard somewhere. I don't even play the games. I just bought it because it looked cool, and I had money, and I was like, okay, that was it. We cosplayed. I'm sure there's old photos on Facebook of me doing the cool nerdy poses with me holding a sword and looking real anime and edgy and
It's
stuff.
probably on your MySpace somewhere.
Yeah, MySpace.
It's funny you mentioned like the sword stuff. I actually had this dream that I would have like an armory wall with all my like favorite like video game props and stuff. And I actually started, and the first thing I had was a massive foam war axe, one of those like ones that hurts too much and you shouldn't hit people with it even though it's foam. Then I also had the Bioshock Infinite, the hook glove thing, which I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. But I had one of those, the full replica of it, and I ended up getting rid of them. But I was like determined that I would have a armory wall in whatever nerd house I eventually ended up with. But I ended up living with my parents for way too long, which I mean, that makes sense. So
Yeah, I think the only swords I ever wanted was samurai swords, but I also was at a point in my life where I'm not very proud to say that I had blonde tips and wool shirts like Guy Fieri. So samurai swords mixed with an all that was poor taste, to say the least.
Very much the grown-up version of the the Nerf armory that you'd have as a kid, right? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Exactly. I mean, first convention, I started with PAX in 2016. Like I didn't really, because I'm from. So young. I'm young, but I'm also from Canberra. So our conventions are a tent in a field somewhere, and that's it. So like, we get like GammaCon and stuff like that, but it never really. I didn't really get to that convention attending stage until I like decided to ship down to PAX with a bunch of online mates I've known for years. So not only had I just turned 18 that year, but it was my first convention. So all these blokes that I'd known for years already were like, "You just turned 18. This is your first convention. You're not going to stand on Sunday." It's like,
nope.
Oh god. So, and spoiler alert, I did not. So yeah, definitely, yeah.
We actually had an American come into my stream the other day, and we just started playing Pick on the American, and we asked, "What's the capital of Australia?" And they go, "Oh, it's Peru." And they go, "No, oh sorry, I meant Perth." I'm like, I just felt like, how do you know about Perth and none of the other cities? Because there's nothing there.
It's literally just a city in the middle of dead air.
Yeah, and then it's like, so we chose Canberra, which just has nothing there except it gets colder than it should, really. That's pretty much all it does. And then they just wanted to know about Canberra, and we're like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I mean, Melbourne has everything at the moment. We're just greedy mothers. There's no expo anywhere, really, apart from, we get PAX, we get DreamHack, we get this now.
Yeah, I think a lot of the other, like, capital cities, and I mean, I'm from Brizzy, so, like, we do have the Supernovas, but there isn't like a game expo or anything like that. It's mostly just the anime kind of pop culture type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then that just takes over, similar to like something like this, where it's just artists and some, I don't think there's even tabletop or anything there. It's just anime and stalls. I always say it was like you were paid to go into a shop. Because that's basically what it was. That was all that you did.
Reminds me of the EB Games Festival.
EBX.
EBX. Which was literally you paid to go into a shop.
They had other things. They had like Sony and Microsoft there and stuff like that. And
I actually went to the last one that was in the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And on the way flying up there, I discovered Stardew Valley. And I went to that convention for about 3 hours, and then I played Stardew Valley for about 13 hours in the hotel room. So, best convention ever.
Excellent use of time. Excellent use of time.
Absolutely. But there wasn't much of that convention, to say the least. And then the following year was when they merged with PAX and came to Melbourne.
And they just had a big piss-off EB Games store in PAX.
Paying to come to the shop. So, but
it's funny every time that I see like that EB Games section at PAX, I see people basically like wading through the big bins of shirts, and like they end up like almost buried in them, and it just seems very chaotic to a point where I'm going to steer really clear away from that. I'll just go to EB Games later.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Do they know that EB Games is a shop that you can go to? In fact, there's probably 5 to 10 of them walking distance from this very spot.
This is true, but I think when I come to conventions and things like that, I try not to really buy the merch on the day, and if I want to buy merch, like I'll get it online. Particularly at events like that when the line is just astronomical for the merch.
Why?
Some people come just for the merch, pretty much.
they also had like different collector's editions.
They did.
For different things. So you could see they basically got all of their stock from the various warehouses, and I think took them there to sell off all the things that didn't sell as part of different collector's editions.
You
and they
bring
were
up a good
cheaper.
point. They got cheaper. Yeah, exactly.
That was the thing. So you didn't even not pay for delivery, but it was like, remember the Persona 5 collector's edition came out, and I wanted one. I couldn't get it, but then I also didn't get it when I went to the EBX, but it was there, and it was cheaper, and I was like, awesome.
I
But
remember
traveling for conventions is really painful because you can't.
Well, not like that, just walking around the conventions. Like, am I going to be carrying this thing around? I mean, you see people carrying them around, so obviously people buy them. But I remember exactly that. I walked past, and there was a Logitech racing wheel. Normally 600, they had it for 300. I'm like, you saucy mix. Like, I don't need you, but that's a good price. Walk past the next day, 200. I'm like, oh, you're tempting me. Next day, $139. I'm like, all right, if that's still there at the end of the day, I'm taking you home. It wasn't, thank God.
Damn. I mean, like, that's the thing, right, with conventions and buying like merch or collectible items, like statues, stuff like that, because they're all there. You get all those retailers that come forth with these amazing statues, and you're like, okay, obviously this is a limited edition item. Someone is going to want this else in the shop. But if I buy it now, I now need to lug it around with me for the rest of the day, or take it home and come back. It's such a dangerous game to play.
Yeah. We actually, because my house looks like a nerd house, right? I have figures, I have Funkos, Amiibos, drop-shipped weird figurines.
It's funny though, because like if you walked into the apartment and you just thought it was like his
it's
house,
normal at the front.
nobody would assume you had a girlfriend.
Yeah, what's the virginity corner? So I forget, because it's the way I like it, because it's all my cool stuff that I like. But I forget that sometimes other people need to come into the house. And anyway, I had a rental inspection, and she walked in, and I'm like, oh man, first, she's going to ask, why do I have 7 monitors on my desk? Second, why is there cameras pointed everywhere? And third, what are all these? And she goes, instead, she was very polite, and she goes, I really like the way that you've laid out your figures. What are they from?
What's good about that though is because there's so much crap in the house, it like distracts everyone from the damage and like the bad things about the house and inspections. However, the other a few weeks ago you weren't there, and there were 2 tradies who were over at the house doing some like inspection on the smoke alarms, and I ended up chatting to some of them for a while, and they were talking about like all of your stuff in the lounge room and being like, what do you guys do? Like what is all this about? And I'm like, well, this is like our hustle. He's telling us about his side hustle, and like he's like, my side hustle is elevators. Did you know all the elevators industries were run by the mafia? It was a wild conversation, but it's a good talking point, I guess.
Yes, all streamers are also part of the mafia. That's what we're.
I think that's the episode title, The Elevator Mafia.
The Elevator Mafia. I don't know. I don't want to. Don't want someone coming looking for me in a horse head rock up in my bed. Did you just leak about the Elevator Mafia?
Yeah.
I've had it many times.
Squad comes in, just like, all right, cancelled.
All of a sudden, our elevator doesn't work.
Yeah.
We get in it, and then it stops working.
Yeah.
I've had like tradesmen come in, and they just go, "Oh, so you're into gaming?" Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I am.
No. This is all there is.
And every now and then you get people. Oh man, I had one. He's like, "Oh, me too." I'm like, "Sweet. What are you playing?" CS:GO. I'm like, okay, cool. For like. Any other games? Nah, I just play CSGO for the last ever.
It's bad though, because to the point where like at my work, one of the executives, I think she thinks I'm like a child because her kids like games, right? But anytime there's an issue with her kids' games, she'll come to me now. So she's like, my son is getting a new iPad. How do I transfer his Minecraft world over to like a different iPad? It's going to be heartbroken. I had to like walk her through the process. I'm like, my job here is secure. Like she needs me around. But I think as well, like the decor in our house is pretty funny because we've got, gaming and like shelves of games, figurines, whatever. And then there's just a shelf full of bones.
That's the bone shelf.
The bone shelf, which is a constant joke on this
Other people
podcast.
don't have the
Cam
bone shelf?
is very confused right now. I used to study veterinary science and I like collecting like specimens and stuff. So I actually have like a sheep skull on the shelf amongst like Mario figurines.
While she was learning, she stole the animal's bones to keep them. Because she's a witch. Did you know that?
Allegedly, I'm a witch.
It's not alleged. Actual witch.
He's more convinced than I am, but it's because I've done some scarily accurate tarot readings for him, but I also have like...
You do spells. Are you not a witch?
The crystal was a different story.
No.
There was this whole thing on TikTok for a while that if you give somebody a rose quartz crystal, it'll make them like love you and be connected to you and obsessed with you. Anyway, so one day I was leaving his house before we moved in together and I left a rose quartz crystal next to his bed. Next time I was over, he asked me to move in.
I did not. I left the door unlocked and you snuck in.
No, that's not true.
That's what happened. From my point of view, I was like cleaning the house. I'm like, Shelby left a stupid rock here. Why is this stupid rock here? I'll just put it in this drawer and she can have
Is
it
it
when
a
she comes
stupid
next time.
rock or is it?
And then I talked to another female and they're like, oh, that's rose quartz. It's a thing they do to try and put a spell on you. It's
Okay.
witchcraft. It's basically voodoo.
It's not, but you know.
It is, because what happened?
I was going to say, zombies, do you believe in free will? I'd start questioning that right about now.
I do. I question every day. It's,
yeah. There's no...
The thing that got me was that other people know about this as well, but they're not sharing it. It's like a female trade secret of how to steal people.
It's not for public disclosure, mate.
No, that's it. Yeah.
We can't know their ways.
Yeah. So it's
Reminds me of that great TikTok audio where women are like doing their makeup and then just like, we can't let the men know we can shapeshift. They're going to tell the church whenever they're doing something that's, you know.
it's true though.
It's true. They're going to tell the church.
Have you seen the shapeshifters around just this very expo?
This is true.
Everywhere.
Yes.
I don't even know what's going on. It's cosplay in particular is getting too damn good to the point where it's like, I don't know if this is real or fake. But it's like when you watch like CGI movies, like, wow, they did really good CGI. I just believe that's real. Now that you have people walking around, I'm like, I just believe that this character is here now. But I know you're from anime.
Yeah.
So
Cosplay is like the most dedicated people ever, like to a point where they're so dedicated and amazing and like talented, it's low-key terrifying. You know, it's just like, this is somebody who you've given them like a box of scraps and like some materials and stuff like that, and they've built
scraps.
They've built like something amazing, and it's just like they are too powerful.
Yes, and it's a weird, like, almost like a trade. You put it on your resume. It's like, I can turn into anyone.
The next Earth update needs to nerf cosplayers by 15%, I think, because seriously, like just looking, like even just a TGX here today, like some of the cosplayers that I've seen already, incredible stuff, and like you know that they've done that from raw material.
Yeah.
We watched the cup yesterday.
We watched the cosplay cup yesterday, and some of the ones that were on display, I was like, I'm sorry, you're from the game, right? Like you're somehow you've walked out of the screen, like, you know, the ring screen. Yeah, they've walked out of the screen and have come here and to do their thing, and it's amazing what these.
And you see these costumes, you're like, how is that glowing? Why is that glowing?
Like especially like the ones with like the electronics in it and stuff like that. You're like, how?
Yeah.
Like cosplayers are sewers and they're electricians apparently now.
Seems that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Multi-talented.
Yeah.
So there's like, I would been, because I talked about how I used to cosplay. My first conventions were all cosplay focused, and I think Hannah has been inspired me to kind of want to get back into cosplay, and I think I want to do Thrud from God of War. Because I think, because she's just a big belly woman, she could like throw people around. Like, I'm just like, I want to have that power, and I can get the axe, right? So I think that's going to be like,
you know,
the plan.
we're not spoiling the game or anything, but she will definitely play like more of a role going forward.
Oh, yeah.
By the time you get that cosplay nailed, you could turn up to, you know, next God of War game comes out.
Yeah,
be
no,
very
definitely.
topical.
And so I just feel like I'm going to be dusting off my crafting gloves.
See, but this is the problem, right? Because the second I saw Thor in that game, because he has the old beer gut and just an absolute specimen.
You're
of
not
a
being
man.
Thor if I'm being
I'm like, that
Thor's
is
kid.
who I can cosplay.
No, that's
and then
weird.
Shelby's like, no, this is weird because then you'd be daddy. So,
Must admit, I felt very represented where I saw that the first concept art for Thor in that game, because I was like, yes, beer gut Thor, finally.
you're going to have to take up more drinking to get into shape.
Yes.
Round is a shape, right? That whole game though, actually, every single character in that game is just cosplay material, and I reckon they do that deliberately.
Seriously, I'm playing through it right now, and just the artistic style of it, it's so iconic, and as you say, so cosplayable. It's a very, very good game to like use as a basis if you want to get into it, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's weird because I went straight out of playing God of War Ragnarok into playing Assassin's Creed, and did Ragnarok in Assassin's Creed. I'm like, these are all the same characters. They just look like knockoffs, really, compared to God of War. No offense, Assassin's Creed.
Do you think that's the next stage for game? Like, do you think the game designers and things like making the games will actually start being like, yeah, we're going to design this character for cosplayers?
You play Valorant, right?
Yeah.
Those
I mean, it's
characters
League
are
of Legends,
definitely...
yeah, Riot, you know. they know
Every
what they're
single
doing.
one of those characters is definitely cosplay bait.
Yep. Of course. Yeah, so it's already happening. Okay,
It's
I'm
already
behind the times.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
I mean, You sort of see it like, I guess, in a lot of games nowadays. It's like, you get the hero characters, your specialists, your operators, if you will, like all these iconic characters that people can sort of pick to main or choose to play. Like to get really specific, even games like Battlefield, right? Once upon a time it was just generic soldier classes, and now it's specialists. So trying to make iconic characters that people can sort of relate to a bit more, maybe even in the cosplay market.
Yes, they're trying.
Yeah,
they're
trying.
But
it's also Battlefield. So no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the difference there is you look at, let's go around to the other toxic shooter, the Rainbow Six. They went from very bland, kind of, realistic and grounded to, hey, let's make some cosplay bait here. Yes. And all of a sudden they're all colourful. They've got like weird and wonderful backstories and do cool things. And it's working.
Yeah, exactly right. You see in a lot of franchises nowadays. Rainbow Six is probably the clearest example of that deciding to happen over the game's lifespan.
Yeah. I think the only probably franchise that I know that they haven't done that is Call of Duty. But they kind of go the other way. They take all the stuff that's people are already cosplaying and they start putting it in the game. Yeah. So... apart from Ghost, of course.
I think as well, you'll find if there's like a character that has skins accessible to them, they might have a skin come out that is more easily accessible for cosplayers than something else, and then you'll see more of those crop up. So if there's like a lighter version, or even like I think the Overwatch does like the summer ones, and people love to cosplay those. But I guess my question is what games out there do you feel are underrepresented by cosplayers, and you would like to see more from? What haven't you seen that you want to?
What haven't we seen? We've seen some weird stuff there. I don't know. I'd like to see less humanoid characters. My mind goes to like Ratchet and Clank or something like that. Just some weird and wonderful characters that, true transformation sort of stuff. I think about like at PAX, for example, we always get a lot of Warhammer cosplay, and that's just sick. Like I know nothing about Warhammer, but those costumes are just awesome. And there's always Halo and Star Wars and all those kind of things that were cool and stuff like that. But just that I don't want people just to put on clothes. I want them to especially when they have like they're a big monster or a big creature that has like they're on stilts or have robotic arms and all that kind of funky stuff. Absolutely cool. Anything like that, I'm down for. What about you, Shelby?
I actually saw a TikTok recently where people had a Stardew Valley themed party and everyone rocked up as like some of the bachelors or bachelorettes. I would love to see more Stardew Valley cosplayers out in the wild, honestly.
Linus is the one that goes through the bins, right?
Linus is the one that goes through the bins, and then you're Linus, 100%. But I even like saw some some Penny cosplayers and things like that looked really good. And I saw somebody cosplaying Krobus as well, the little like demon one who lives in the sewers. So I think that they are out there, but more Stardew Valley cosplay would be fantastic.
One that I did see that was kind of interesting is the people cosplaying as Pokemon, like as the actual Pokemon. I'm like, oh, okay, now the Pokemon are real. It's not just Snorlax. That's easy.
It's getting too far now. I was just thinking with the Stardew Valley one as well, because I know Stardew Valley is sort of like not low poly is not the right word, but it's like, a sort of a cartoony game. So I imagine when you're trying to translate that into a real life cosplay, there's probably a bit of gaps to fill there that requires quite a bit of creative interpretation and quite a lot of skill from the cosplayer. So it's very impressive to see when they can pull that off very, very effectively and very well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one that I see that's kind of weird is Sonic. People who cosplay as Sonic, it's kind of weird.
I've seen that a few times. I've seen.
Kind of looks like Sonic.
This is Sonic. Get them to run real fast.
They got those red shoes as well. We know how that goes down.
Yeah, we're going to go down that route, the red shoes.
The red shoes. It's weird. I saw Sonic now has an official TikTok, and he's now doing the memes. And he did the ice cream meme where, they do the airplane with the ice cream. Except they did it with a chili dog, and I'm just like, this is weird. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this. Still less weird than, what's that, Duolingo TikTok. Have you heard about this?
No, I don't think I have. Please go on.
Well, there's a whole law, first of all, which it was Angry Birds and what was the original one? It was Angry Birds and Duolingo got into a fight.
And there was also Scrub Daddy was involved.
No. So it starts with Angry Birds and Duolingo, because they're both birds, got into a fight. Red did, and then Cult of the Lamb got involved and decided that he was going to back up Duolingo and fight the Red, and then Red would turn into a VTuber when it streams this Cult of the Lamb. Then they became best friends. Then they became married, and the priest was Shovel Knight, And then somewhere along the line, Duolingo hooked up with Scrub Daddy, and they had kids.
So there is this.
And this is all documented on their TikToks.
There's this crazy deep TikTok lore of all these mascots and brands interacting with each other and having these weird skits and adventures and things like that. None of it's planned. It's just social media interns going crazy, I think.
It is.
But also, the Scrub Daddy one gets me because you didn't even know about it until I told you. For those who don't know what Scrub Daddy is, it's a sponge. It's just a sponge, and this giant green owl and this sponge were making TikToks together, and then they made babies which were green owl sponges.
They showed the owl making sponges.
It was wild.
It was wild, and I've shown social media managers since, and I'm like, why doesn't ours look like this? And then they go, what is this?
I hate the internet. It's just the worst. I mean, no, it's a great place, but it's also the best and the worst of everything, I feel. I am so confused already.
But this is the thing, right? People say that TikToks, you got to be a little bit edgy on TikTok if you want to get those clicks up. And they have all these corporate accounts, and they've got basically showing PowerPoint presentations on TikTok. And then you have Scrub Daddy, who is making babies on TikTok.
We're on the wrong timeline. We're on the wrong
darkest
timeline. A variant stepped in somewhere, stuffed everything up, and now we have Scrub Daddy babies.
It's legit, and it has millions of views. It's working. I want to be in that meeting when they go to like the CEO and stuff like that. And it's like, this is what I've done.
Yeah,
how do you
feel? When you want to make something like that for a corporate account, do you just do it first and then go for ask for permission, not for forgiveness, or what's the route you take there?
They probably go through a few of them. That wasn't it, Chief.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah, I imagine that would have been a hell of a conversation in the boardroom.
Oh, they're into it. It could be just they're into it.
It could be too. It could be the case.
I don't know, but it's definitely makes you think what you should do with your TikTok account. I've definitely thought about just making absolutely ridiculous, makes no nonsense TikTok and just seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I might need to go home and revise my content strategy.
Yeah, there was one thing I did as an experiment, because I've got obviously, we've got ZLB podcast, we've got socials for that, we've got Zombies Love Bacon everywhere else. I created it was a Facebook page, and I was just called it Game Memes, and I just put 6 memes on it, and that was it. It's easily 100 times more successful than my personal page. Easily. To this day, haven't touched it in over 10 years, still gets new likes. With out-of-date 6 memes, that's it.
Do you remember back in the day when, those game meme pages, you just posted a thing that everybody liked and just made a page about it?
Yeah.
And that was your Facebook page?
Yeah.
I remember making one that was typing to the beat of your music. That was the title of the Facebook page.
Okay.
And then it was just, I would post good songs to type to.
Why?
Because, when I was typing, because, when the beat of the music, so you go, and you would type to the beat.
Are you okay?
Back then, I am now, mostly, but back then, maybe not. I was a weird kid.
I mean, everyone needs a hobby. It's yeah.
It just goes to show that, especially in the online world, there really is something for everyone.
Oh,
and
yes.
if you can come up with something that just, no matter how crazy it sounds, there could be an audience for it out there. You just got to let the all praise the algorithm, let it do its thing, and find those people for you.
There was a Facebook page, I'm going to put it in a tasteful way, called Drawing Doodles on the Herald Sun, and that's all it was. And boy howdy was I entertained by that.
Hours of scrolling.
Lots of veins and yeah, it's a whole page. It's got I think it had nearly 100,000 likes or something like that last time I looked. So it's more popular than me.
I revised my statement earlier. We're on the wrong timeline. I was wrong. There shouldn't be content for everyone. No.
I mean, that's what you get for reading the Herald Sun. So, but yeah, it's interesting to say the least. But they reckon that if you want to be popular on TikTok, you got to be a little bit edgy. You got to be a bit more tasteful for Instagram, and then Facebook, you have to be prepared for your nana to like it. Yes. It's pretty much how it works. So, and then what else is there? I'm thinking of. No, that's it. Twitter. Oh, then there's Twitter. And then there was Twitter.
Twitter is changing every day. Something's always wrong with Twitter now.
Twitter is Twitter until it's not Twitter anymore. No, it's weird because it changes so often that it's like, they're like, hey, we've changed this. I'm like, oh, I guess we're just going to have to get used to this now. Like, no, we changed it again. So, okay, so when are we going to...
I just want them to make up their mind and have it, maybe leave it for a month before making any changes. I mean, there was that weird week where we were all like, we're going to the Hive, which was another social media platform. But
then we broke it.
Then we
they're
broke it,
We
and then we had
fixed
to come
it.
back.
And then where'd everyone go? Basically.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, there's not really much else there. I mean, there's still MySpace. It still exists. We could all go back to MySpace and be friends with Tom. So
Tom never let us down like Elon has.
yeah, no one cancelled Tom. He didn't do anything. He's probably still working on MySpace. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I remember when MySpace came out and everyone was like, "This is it. We've done it. We can connect. I can set my top 8 friends, whatever it was, and every time you go to my profile, it'll play whatever song that I want to everybody in the most obnoxious way." And
I
people
miss
loved it.
the age-old days of like HTML and CSS being completely left up to you on a page. Make your MySpace page however you want. Make it as annoying as possible. Make it flashy backgrounds and like change the cursor and everything. But also doing the same on like Neopets as well, having your own Neopets homepage. And I've seen recently people are actually talking about, hey, I really want to like go back to that time. That was like a simpler time. We could do whatever we want, have really customized experiences. So people have actually started reviving that with I think a site maybe called NeoCities, like the old GeoCities.
Did you say GeoCities?
No, NeoCities.
I know GeoCities.
People are actually setting up like home pages with all their own custom stuff and making it as terrifying as the early 2000s with the design. So it's quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to GeoCities, which was what I played instead of Neopets, which was just basically making huge, obnoxious web pages and putting them on the internet. And then if one person saw it, you'd be like, holy crap, I've made it. You've seen my weird website I made in Macromedia
And every website
Dreamweaver.
would have a website view counter down the bottom, so you'd always know. You'd have like the ones that tick over, and everyone would put those in their eBay listings as well, and like anything. Yeah.
I put that on my MySpace page. I could see which country and how many people from each country had been to my MySpace page.
I don't know if it was for you guys, but there was like a trend on MySpace to put your age to 100 instead of putting your actual age. I was always 100 years old on MySpace, and then
I feel
somebody would
100
be
years
like
old.
slightly mean to me, and then I'd move them down my top 8. So yeah, it was a good toxic time. I was in year 7, so
Yeah. And then I remember everyone was like, whoa, MySpace is amazing. And then Facebook came along, and everyone's like, Facebook's amazing. And then I just got Facebook. I'm like, it has games. And I just went straight to Farmville, and that's all I did. And then I was
I had so
poking
many
everybody
friends
to
I'd never
water my
met.
plants on Farmville. That's all I did for years.
Yeah, I just go to like add people just so I could send them Farmville gifts and get them back from them. I had no idea who these people are.
Yeah, true. Same. It was just random people. I think I'm still friends with some random people that have maybe just made friends playing. There was that, I think, I can't remember. It was like a tower defense game, some monster game or whatever. And you had to get your friends to like refuel your cannons or something like that. So I was just making friends on the internet and making parents very nervous.
You were min-maxing Farmville in this other game?
Absolutely.
You were
By
min-maxing.
adding strange old men on the internet to water
The
my
internet
garden.
used to be a very different place.
It's getting worse though. It's not getting better. It's a constant matter of stranger data. It was like we talked about this a couple of weeks back, but back then it was like, do not put your real name on the internet. The Matrix will get you, and they will find you. And then
But now it's like, don't put your real name on some places on the internet, because most people got a Facebook page and it's all there. But if you've got an online persona, leave it at that.
Yeah, but then the same people that were telling you not to use your real name on the internet now are the same people using Facebook and posting baby photos of you on the internet.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's done a complete 180. Like, I think, 10 years ago, it was, don't post your name on the internet, don't post anything. And now it's like, here's my in-depth, up-close bleaching tutorial. Like, they share everything.
Yeah, I'm live streaming my drive to the supermarket.
Yeah, and vlogging that entire experience. And this is exactly where I live. Nothing's going to happen, right? And I guess it's fine, but there's targeted people on the internet. Like, it's just, they'll find you if they need to anyway, regardless, right? It's like putting a lock in your door. It's just an honor system, right? Just don't, go after people.
Yeah, I pride myself on being very hard to find online. If you have my real name and you're trying to find everything else, you're not going to get anywhere. And my boss got really frustrated with that because he tried to stalk me when they were trying to hire me. And he ended up asking me all these questions about how I managed to keep myself hidden online. afterwards. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because your potential employers want to find you. They want to see everything that you've done. They want to see all the weird pages you've joined.
And we've gone over on previous episodes in great detail how that can go very skewy very quickly.
Yes.
Which we won't go into those details right now because it's kind of weird. But yeah, it's kind of weird. The internet as a whole is very weird. But I mean, getting back to Game Expo and being here, this is now like, we went from don't put your real name on the internet to put everything on the internet. Not only that, we went from don't meet random people on the internet to meet random people on the internet and go then meet them in person and then go out drinking with them and then, go traveling with them, go do all the stuff with them.
Or in some case, like some people move in together or whatever, that we met in video games.
There's the entire dating on the internet now.
Yeah.
We went from don't put your real name on the internet to put everything on the internet, meet people on the internet and marry them.
I mean, it used to be as well, like you don't put your details online, you don't meet strangers, but now I use an app to put my details online to summon a stranger to pick me up in their car. Yep. So
you're literally paying strangers to come pick you up in their car.
We've gotten to a point now. There's people I've met online, and I only know them by their handle.
Yeah.
As well, and then if you get to real name status, that's when you've made it as a friend for them. And
we had a moment last night at the pub where people were like, "What's your real name?"
Yes.
And now some people know it.
Yeah. But it's all the online monikers and stuff. Yes. Get to real name status with your friends, online friends.
Yeah, it's a little weird when you're at a bar and people are yelling out zombies.
I like referring to like our real names, being that we have screen names. Our real names are our government names.
Government names. Yeah. Would you like to know my government name? It's I don't know. I'm fine with handles, and it's just nicknames. Let's be honest. Unless people have weird stuff, so it's like a guy I went to school with. His handle, it's horrible, is good with the womans. So you'd be playing Call of Duty and you'd be calling him womans most of the time, and you have to say it like that because he was a big fan of LEG. So he was trying to, we don't call him that anymore. He's changed his name like 3 times. He's a rapper now. So every time he has a new album drop, he's got a new name to go with it. So
it's very clear there are some screen names that should not be used in the real life setting, I think. At that point, you kind of need to accelerate that real name status, I think. And you go
lowercase x, uppercase x, lowercase x, underscore.
XX Quickscoper 360 player.
Hidden Sniper 72.
There you go. Yeah.
It's. I'm one of the things that I did, particularly when I was like picking my handle, was like no numbers, no underscores, no dots, no nothing. I'm not doing any of that. And boy, howdy, did I spend a long time going, oh, that's a great name. I can have it if I put a 7 at the end of it. Yeah. I'm not doing that though.
The amount of times, like we were talking yesterday about the amount of list of names we had for our podcast as well. And then I did the same thing when I was doing rebrands and stuff like that as well. It was a list of 27 different iterations of something to do with Koshi, because that's just how that works for me. Yeah. It's got to be Koshi, but I literally Googled suffixes for words, like just to find something like you said that doesn't have numbers, it doesn't have punctuation, underscores.
That I did recently.
Sorry,
do a pro tip.
Yeah.
ChatGPT can do all that.
Yes,
for you.
Exactly. This is before the rebrand. That was last year.
Working on a project, I'm like, this is what I want to call it. But can you give me a list of names that aren't taken, no numbers, and the chat's like, here's 30 names to choose from. I'm like, oh my God, this is so much quicker than Googling every one of them.
Such an amazing tool and the applications that it can, sort of help you out in nowadays. Like hearing about workplaces even adopting in some places. It's like, did I receive an email from a human or from an AI today?
Well, the thing I shared the other day was that you can go to Fiverr, right, and they've got all their gigs on it. There's an entire category to pay people to use AI for you. So if you don't know how to use it, you can pay a human to use AI to help you.
The best one I've had recently was within ChatGPT. Is one of my coworkers wanted to make their email to their boss sound more human, so they gave it to ChatGPT to make it sound more human, which hurts my brain.
Which is what Shelby does already. And I actually tried it, and it actually worked really well. But I said, can you make this email sound professional and straight to the point? And it sounded like it was coming from a principal. Then they were in trouble. And I sent it to, who was a boss of mine, but I sent it to them, and the response I got was the most apologetic, just sorry, sir.
Wow.
Never happen again, sir, basically. And I'm like, this is too powerful.
See, I have an opposite issue. When I actually write emails myself, I feel like I'm too to the point, and I'm very like straightforward, and I don't add a lot of fluff, which I think my coworkers think is like unapproachable. So then I'm like, can you make this sound friendlier and also like a little bit shorter, and maybe just a bit. Use some slang words in there. Just ask ChatGPT to do that, and it's just like, yeah, here you go. I'm like, cool. I can sound like a human now.
Asking a robot to make you sound more human.
Yeah, I have some tone issues. So
Yeah, so mindful of time. There is one thing I wanted to bring up about the naming conventions, because I was talking to Chad obviously about I've got a project coming up, and I wanted to lock in a name so that I can start doing like graphics and stuff for it. And that was easy. But I remember the process that we did for Zombies Love Bacon. We were at the pub, and we had the name check website open. We're just punching everything in while sinking many pizzas and many beers and getting more giggly by the end of it. And when we landed on it, we're like, this is great because we can reduce it down to ZLB, and we locked in ZLB HQ for the website, so we can have a 5-letter website, so .com straight up, which was important in the early days. And then I'm like, great, this is all locked in. We started making content. We did some YouTube stuff like that. And then a friend of mine messaged me and goes, yeah, you're ZLB, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. So I think someone's using your account. And then I looked at it, and someone had ZLB. Instead of Zombies Love Bacon, they actually grabbed the ZLB handle for YouTube. Yeah. And it was the most annoying little British kid. And he was just opening free football card packets, and he had 20,000 more views than I did on everything. And I was so angry for spending weeks of branding and working on all this content, and this kid literally just filmed on a 2-megapixel digital camera and uploaded it straight to his channel and got more views straight away. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's great, fantastic. And then I quitted. No, I didn't quit content creation. I thought about it. Yeah. Or I thought about opening soccer cards. It's like, God damn. Anyway, I think that channel disappeared, so I win this round. But yeah, it's important to make sure that you get your naming and stuff right, because to our earlier conversation, if people are going to Google you, because they're never going to open up your particular website. Hell yeah. The chess zone goes. It's a shame none of us are under 18. Oh, I could use $500 though. Too bad I'm awful at chess.
Can I BS my way through chess? That's what I'm wondering right now. Probably not.
Yes, there's some chess stories that are still in our podcast channel we need to talk about. But
I've been playing chess for like the last week on my computer. Let's go.
We've let each other out.
Yeah.
Is that why you're meant to be working? Yeah, like ChatGPT's got today. I'm going to play some chess instead.
Well, I haven't had the motivation to work lately, so it's very easy for me to act like I'm paying attention if I split my monitor into two, meeting on the left side, solitaire on the right, and I just look concentrated, like I'm looking directly at them. It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah. We should definitely wrap up, though, because we are at time. I did notice, it just occurred to me that we are, in playing Inception today, we have the ZLB podcast on the outside, but then we have the redundant opinions right here in the middle of the table. So it's podcast Inception. So
podcast sandwich. That's
podcast sandwich. Yeah.
Podcast sandwich.
The two people without mics are talking. So
sorry.
Well, you should go around the table and just give yourself a bit of a plug, Shelby.
Oh, yeah, I'm Shell Bunny, SHELLBUNNY. I can spell my own name. If you're here live, you can catch me and get a business card because I have way too many of them. But otherwise, I'm Shell Bunny on Twitch, Shellbunny_ on Twitter, and that's where you'll find the rest of me. So.
Yep, and I'm Kamikaze78 or Cami. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, just using that handle. Yeah, and again, feel free to come say good day. Happy to exchange business cards and shake some hands, and
Yep, so third off the rank. So you can find all my stuff at Kochify, so KOCHIEFY on everything now. I did my work.
Wow.
I think everything's all sorted, but I'm a game reviewer. We do a podcast with Cami and myself called Redundant Opinions, which is just as bad as you think it is. So we do that as well, which I think we'll probably record today at some point and get that done for TGX. And all my opinions on the internet are over there.
Fantastic. And obviously with the ZLB podcast, we normally stream live every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on Twitch, with episodes going out on every major platform come Monday morning. But this one will probably go out on the internet later today, and people can listen to it, unless it's awful. In that case, I don't know what we'll do. It'll be the new 13, if they know what I mean.
Fix it in post.
Fix it in post.
Just fix it in post.
That's the one. We'll just fix it in post. Just green screen it out. It's all
Yeah,
good.
green screen the audio.
That's how it works.
Put the filter on it in OBS and re-record or something. Perfect.
Man, it's like you know how I do it. It's you're watching me or
The
something.
secrets. I mean, your walls.
Hey, but if you're listening to this recording, thank you very much for listening, and make sure you give it a like and share and comment, all that cool stuff. And if you listen to us somehow at the Game Expo, thanks for hanging out, and yeah, check us out.
You're
online,
cool.
on the
Yeah.
internet. Don't put your real name out there though.
Don't do.
Just
Only hashtags and X's and numbers and underscores in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around your real name. Thanks everybody.